My name is Clint Davis. I'm an Inuk from Nunatsiavut and chair of the board of directors of Nunatsiavut Group of Companies. Interestingly enough, I'm the business guy, yet I'm the only male speaker not wearing a tie, so go figure that, right? So now, having said that, I've just used up 10 seconds of my time, so I'm going to actually have to try and plow through this. The purpose of my talk tonight is to try and dispel two myths about doing business in the Arctic. Myth number one, the Inuit, and by extension, all Indigenous people in the North are opposed to business and resource development. As an Indigenous person, I can tell you there's nothing in our DNA that prohibits our ability to do and understand business. Business and economics are not a Western concept. Rather, they're innately human. Indigenous people are entrepreneurs, and their community governments support business activity through economic development corporations, which are the economic arms of these governments, and essentially they're very much akin to a crown corporation. In 2011, TD Economics estimated the size of the Aboriginal market, the first time it ever did that, by looking at the buying power of Indigenous people, businesses, and communities. It determined that the size of the market in 2011 was $24 billion, expected to be $32 billion by 2016. Of that $32 billion, close to $12 billion of that actually came from the revenue generated of these economic development corporations. In Canada, some of the largest economic development corporations are actually found, and the most successful are actually found in the Arctic. The Inuit have 6 major economic development corporations, which collectively is estimated to generate over $400 million in revenue per year. These ECDev Corps have investments in over 120 companies, which train, develop, and hire our own people. And these jobs pay very well, which in turn have a very positive impact on the person and their families. Back home, where I'm from, the Nunatsiavut Group of Companies, we have 14 companies covering a wide range of different industry sectors, from real estate, construction, fisheries, logistics, and even air transportation. Our board is Inuit, our CEO is Inuit, and the Inuit make up close to 50% of our entire workforce. And our group of companies operate for the benefit of our communities and to create opportunity for our people. We don't exist so that the rich get richer. We exist so that our communities actually benefit. And I have to tell you, it's remarkable to see that a level of pride, the amount of pride in our community members when they actually see themselves and their cultural identity reflected in their businesses, and they actually can receive a business service in their own language. Bottom line, we do business, and we're good at it. When it comes to resource development, we're not opposed. We just want to see it, we don't want to see it happen at any cost. The Inuit Circumpolar Council, which represents Inuit interests around the world, signed a declaration on resource development. It doesn't oppose development, but rather it lays out the rules for which responsible development can actually take place. For instance, it states that economic development and social and cultural development must go hand in hand, and that the rate of development must happen in a manner that minimizes environmental impact and maintains Inuit cultural integrity. We also want to ensure that our businesses and our people are not excluded from the benefits that flow from resource development. When you do work on our lands, you should be working with us as true partners. All of these rules are very reasonable and frankly, very doable. Myth number 2, the Arctic is too fragile and complex for any meaningful business investment to take place. Without a doubt, the Arctic is uniquely sensitive, which according to Inuit leader Sheila Wakluche, whom I'm sure many of you heard of her or know her in this room, the Arctic acts as the world's barometer for its environmental health. And its governance, which is made up of national structures, international frameworks, Indigenous self-government, can certainly create a complex business environment. But that shouldn't erode its investment viability. The Arctic has been described as an emerging market. When you take into account the global Arctic mass, it's home to 4 million people, 40 different Indigenous and ethnic cultural groups, and an economy of $230 billion annually. Here in Canada, the Arctic takes up about 40% of our land mass with a population of over 120,000 people, of which 80% are Indigenous. The majority of Canada's Arctic Indigenous communities have settled their land claims. You just heard of one earlier tonight. Resulting in ownership control of huge swaths of land and close to $30 billion of investable capital. And as I said before, business is actually happening in the north. But it is a tough place to do business. Harsh climate, sparsely populated, small workforce, and limited infrastructure. But the opportunities actually are pretty interesting. even above and beyond where you hear the usual suspects like hydrocarbons, minerals, fisheries, and so on. I want to highlight 3 examples. First, the infrastructure needs are estimated to be close to $1 trillion. Without reliable roads, ports, or even internet, development and business activity will be limited. Strategic infrastructure investment by national governments and the private sector will create an environment that facilitates additional investment to the benefit of those living there. Second, we all want climate change to slow down and hopefully stop. However, climate change's impact on sea ice has created heightened interest in new Arctic shipping routes that would support industries such as tourism and even result in more efficient routes to connect markets. And third, I kind of just learned about this a little while ago, the Arctic is actually becoming a hub for data centers. In areas where there's a reliable source of electricity, the natural cold environment provides an energy-efficient cooling system for these huge servers that are owned by the Googles and Facebooks of the world. While these facilities are found now in Scandinavian countries and Iceland, it's only a matter of time for other Arctic countries to benefit from this opportunity. So with that, Nakamuk. Thank you.